Real Madrid talk to Haaland, Lampard plans the summer clear out, there's Europa League drama, a transfer roundup, and today's Friday feels all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, and apparently Real Madrid have already held talks with Erling Haaland. Hold the record, I know what you're thinking, he's only just signed for Borussia Dortmund. Yes, he has, but such has been his fantastic form that if Real Madrid came in with enough money, they could probably tempt him away. So much was being made of the fact that he wasn't going to make the jump from Salzburg to a massive club like Real. He needed a step in between. He's taken that step in between. It's clear that he's really ridiculously good and probably could have gone to Real Madrid or another big club in the first place. Now, apparently his £60 million release clause that is in his contract only comes into effect after the end of next season. But even then, it's Real Madrid. I mean, they could probably come in with 100 million like they normally do and go and spend a crazy effort and amount of money in bringing in Haaland. And in all honesty, I can kind of see it happening. I spoke a few weeks ago, actually in this video that I'm going to put right here, about why Haaland made a great choice at Dortmund, because they bring in players, make them into superstars, and then sell them on for a big amount of money. I know 6 months will be a short time, but as I mentioned before, I can kind of see it happening in the summer. And if you completely disagree, let me know in the comments section. But anyway, we'll move on to our next topic, where Frank Lampard is planning a massive summer clear out. That is if reports are to be believed. Now, I'm not saying it's an overreaction to Wednesday night's loss to Bayern Munich, Tuesday nights, but going ahead and getting rid of 8 players does seem a little bit too dramatic. Don't get me wrong, there are players in the Chelsea squad that do need to leave and that aren't really at their best, but this seems like a hell of a summer and a very busy summer for Lampard. If he finishes in the top 4, it could be a good one, as they'll be able to attract new players with all the money that they've got and the fact they're playing Champions League football. But if not, it's really not going to be the greatest of times for him. So let's take a look at the 8 who might be leaving. First off, there's Kepa. Loads of questions about him, with Caballero being the number 1 at the moment, and I can see him going for a fair bit of money. There's both left backs, Emerson and Marcos Alonso, who don't just do the job well enough. They can do either attack or defend, but not really at the same time. In defence as well, there's also Kurt Zouma, who really showed some promise at the start of his Chelsea career, but over the last few years has sort of been overtaken by the likes of Rudiger. Obviously, Tomori's come in as well, and then there's also Christensen too. Moving further forward, Jorginho just doesn't quite look up to the task of being that defensive midfielder, especially overshadowed by someone like Thiago. The gulf in quality between him and Thiago of Bayern Munich really was evident on Tuesday night. Ross Barkley also hasn't shown his best form that we saw at Everton, and as for Pedro and Willian, well, they're on the wrong side of 30 and probably shouldn't be in Chelsea's plans if they're looking to the future. So if Chelsea are going to get rid of all of those 8, who should they bring in? Chelsea fans, let me know. But moving on to the Europa League, because what a night of drama. Starting obviously with Arsenal. They've lost to Olympiacos and exit the competition to the Greek side after a 2-1 home defeat in extra time. The game had it all. There was some brilliant play, some absolutely horrendous sloppy play, and a last-minute winner. This honestly was typical Arsenal and typical Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, capable of brilliance, like the goal that Arsenal fans thought would take them through to the next round, and then capable of missing an absolute sitter in the final few seconds, which would have seen his team through again after they conceded in the 119th minute. Now, for all of Arsenal's supposed turnaround in the last few weeks, they have been unbeaten in 2020 up until last night. I'm not so sure all the promising signs are there. There's still a sluggishness about their play. They're still looking quite slow, and a few players just really do not look up to the task. Unfortunately, getting so hyped over wins like over Everton and Olympiacos away last week doesn't really paper up the cracks that Arsenal really need to step up the game if they're to even challenge for the top 4. Now the Europa League's gone, it looks like the best they can do is hope to get into the Europa League again, or through a cup competition, if not through the league. To be fair, that wasn't the only shock last night. There was Ajax, last season's semi-finalists in the Champions League, have now been knocked out in the first knockout round of the Europa League. Getafe seem to be, I'm not going to say shithousing, but they're not playing the greatest brand of football, but they seem to be doing pretty well. They're currently fighting for 3rd spot in La Liga after a brilliant season last year, which almost saw them get into the Champions League. And well, now they've beaten Ajax and they're through to the next round. Alongside this, unbelievably, somehow, Fred not only scored 2 goals for Manchester United, but Jesse Lingard got an assist as they won 5-0 against Bruges, or Fernandes had another great game, and Igalo grabbed his first goal for the club. But alongside this, there was also brilliant wins for Rangers, who went through against Braga, and also Inter Milan, Roma, Leverkusen all had really good wins, which sees them through to the next round. Unfortunately, there were defeats for Celtic and Benfica, which sees them leave the competition, despite the fact that, in naming terms, they are pretty big European heavyweights. So next up, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where actually one of those players that Lampard is reportedly targeting is Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. Arsenal interested in Hoffenheim, Florian Grillitsch. AC Milan looking at the possibility of bringing in Udinese's star Rodrigo De Paul, and lastly but not least, Manchester City and Pep Guardiola want to bring in Everton's Mason Holgate. So lastly but not least, we come to today's Friday Feels. This is where you guys leave your predictions for the weekend's football in the comment section down below, and we call out a few of the correct ones on Monday. What a weekend of football we've got coming up. First off, and it's Juventus against Inter Milan at the top of Serie A. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Inter Milan. The game will be played behind closed doors because of fears over the coronavirus. Second, and El Clasico. I've been speaking the last few days how I think it's not going to be such a great game, so it's probably going to be the complete opposite. I'm going to go for a stunning 3-3 draw. The first piece of English silverware is up for contention this weekend, as it's the Carabao Cup final, and I think Manchester City will win 3-1 over Aston Villa. And lastly but not least, David Beckham's Inter Miami play their first ever game as the new MLS season kicks off this weekend. Unfortunately for him, I think they're going to lose 2-0 on the road to last season's Western Conference winners, LAFC. So let me know your Friday feels down below and your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news in the comment section. Whilst you're there, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, have a great weekend, enjoy the football, and I'll see you guys later.